Hi, everyone. I'm Yolanda Harper. Are you seeing my screen? Just
Yes, we are.
fantastic. So I also teach in the behavioral sciences program, and I've been with Ashford. It'll be 7 years in 2020. I also like saying that now, Yvonne, 2020. And I'm just happy to be here. One of my specializations has to do with psychology and music as well as humor. So I'm kind of combining those areas together for this presentation today. And so if you saw the little blurb, describing this session, I kind of began with, human beings, they appear to have this love-hate relationship with holiday music. Some absolutely love it. I saw Christopher and Jamie and Kate mention how they like the upbeat Christmas music. Some hate it and get tired of it very quickly. Sometimes it is associated with reminders of loss, or not everybody's holidays were a lot of fun, like other people's. But many do enjoy at least some Christmas music, at least in moderation, and at least for a limited amount of time. I haven't met anybody yet that wants to listen to holiday music all year long, but most people like a little bit of it at least. But let's not overdo it. So my first question, and I think I posed this question in the description: what do you do with a tune after the novelty wears off, but you continue to encounter it in random places? So I say, well, make it fun, write a parody. Or perhaps holiday music, it's not really the issue in general, but you find that you or a loved one has a random moments of what we call the holiday blues. Another thing you could do, write a parody or another song. Or perhaps all is well, and you need a way to entertain the kids, Stephanie, or you're looking for a new family activity. Consider, again, writing a parody. Parodies about humor, and as Dr. Belcher shared with us, humor is definitely, laughter and humor are definitely beneficial for us. Sharing a little bit of background information, laughter and humor appear to be known in all societies that we know about. There's a pretty good understanding of how laughter and humor positively impact our perceptions, our attitudes, our judgments, and our emotions. And for those who are interested, the current author does list a number of potential contributions of humor to individual and group therapy for those even with very serious mental illnesses or mental conditions, as well as a variety of ways in which humor can contribute to recovery and positive affect for those across a broad range of affective states. So even for when we experience minor stressors, laughter and humor are beneficial, as Dr. Belcher reminded us. Now, social psychologists have found that humor is really an essential and important aspect of human behavior. It's not, it is as important as a number of other experiences, and even as important as some of the things we consider vital for our life, like water and air and things like that. And creativity and wit come together to create social comic relief that provides us basically a break from whatever else is going on in our daily lives. Humor is important not just for our mental well-being, but overall wellness as well. And the ability to see humor in even stressful situations has short-term mood enhancing effects as well as long-term wellness benefits. And just a few examples of that we have at least 3 decades of research indicating that humor positively impacts our health and well-being in a number of different ways, such as these that I put on the screen here. So some are, as you see, are emotional benefits, others are physical benefits, and of course, they interact with one another. And we also know that the brain responds to humor in a number of different ways, and that's a good thing. And parodies, which I'm going to model today, also activate the same part of the brain that processes rewards. So parodies, actually, the brain thinks they're positive reinforcement, that we're receiving positive reinforcement when we play with parodies and we get the message. Now, not sarcasm. So sarcasm doesn't have the same kind of positive effect on the brain or the body as humor. So what are parodies? Well, parodies in musical humor is basically playfulness, and play is fun. Play is good for us. And in the case of musical humor, playfulness just enhances the positive affect. 3 features of irony and parody are listed here on the screen for those who are interested. You may remember from the Greek tragedies how parodies were often introduced after some really dramatic, emotionally charged moment to basically relieve the audience of the mental strain. And then perhaps the most famous psychologist for his use of parody and his work with clients was Albert Ellis with his rational emotive songs. Now, one goal of parodies is, I mentioned earlier, to elicit the positive emotion and laughter. So without further ado, let's talk about the 12 Days of Christmas. This is a song that is in the public domain, so it can be used any way you choose to use it. And it may be the song that has most parody versions as well as satirical versions out there. One researcher found over 143 versions. And of course I added mine. So now we know there's at least 144 versions out there. It's given a date of 1870, at least documented as an English Christmas carol at that point. But others believe that it may have been around as early as the 1500s and maybe a French origin. But it's been out there a while. So what are our 12 days here? On the first day of Christmas, psychologists brought to me an Ellis rational emotive parody. We have to start with Ellis, right? On the second day of Christmas, we have 2 Skinner boxes. Third day, 3 Bobo dolls. 4 Freudian slips. And 5 big personality factors. 6 Daryl Sue textbooks. 7 Wechsler texts. 8 perceptual illusions. 9 Gardner intelligences. From your favorite class statistics, 10 degrees of freedom. 11 Linehan lectures. Someone earlier talked about mindfulness and being present. 12 reframed cognitions. I saw some of that happen in the chat. I'm reframing some of challenging situations as positive. And those are our 12 days of psychology days of Christmas. So now that we know the 12 days, let's get together and everybody unmute and let's do it together. And let's see, I think I may have to stop sharing for a moment to get to the other screen. All right, so let me see how I'm gonna do. Guess I could share this. Share that one. Okay, so you're seeing the YouTube video now?
Yeah, I can see it. We can see it.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's do this. Yeah, I want to hear a lot of voices. On the 12th day of Christmas, psychologist brought to me 12 reframed cognitions, 11 Linehan lectures, 10 degrees of freedom, 9 Gardner intelligence, 8 perception illusions, 7 Wechsler tests, 6 girls who push my big personality factors, 4 Freudian slips, 3 Bobo dolls, and a Ellis wrestling on the parody. So So okay, that's an update. I did leave my dog here on purpose because I knew she would sing with me. He always does. So let me switch back over to the other screen. And actually, before I do that, let me pull this out. So I will leave everybody the links too. So obviously, if you do the full, starting at day one and working your way back, it's about a 7-minute song. And I don't know if I had that much time. So we just skipped to day 12. Let me see if I can find the chat here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so those are our 12 days. And obviously, you could come up with your own 12 days. In fact, once I posted mine out there on YouTube, I found that there were others that have done psychology type 12 days of Christmas. And they're a lot of fun, or you may want to do one that has nothing to do with psychology. The YouTube links to the 3 versions. One is just sing along, so I think it just has the lyrics without any voice. Oh, that's the instrumental version. So you can always make up your own version as well. But there are 3 versions out there. And then the day 12 one was the brief one that we just did right there. Other songs in the public domain that you can make parodies out of, or satires, Deck the Halls, Jingle Bells, Up on the Housetop. In fact, if you do a Google search, you'll find quite a few songs in the public domain. And so writing a fun parody or new holiday song that will elicit smiles, it's just a fun thing to do, and a good, regardless of whether you're tired of Christmas music, whether you or someone might have the holiday blues, or you need an activity to do with your friends, your kids, or other loved ones. It's just a fun thing to do. I wrote a new Christmas song this year called Meet Me in Margaritaville for Christmas, and it's fun. It's upbeat. It talks about seashells on a Christmas tree and a lot of other fun stuff. And particularly it was inspired for people whose Christmases or holidays are forever changed because perhaps they lost their last parent, or they lost a loved one that they've always spent all their holidays with, and they're having to figure out how to celebrate, or, do I celebrate the way we used to, or do I come up with a new tradition? And so Meet Me in Margaritaville is about thinking about new traditions that can be fun. And it follows, by the end of the year, you've recaptured your Christmas spirit. So anyway, that's all I have for this. Thank you for attending. I'll let the credits roll, and then I'll entertain questions. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing, and then so I can look at the chat, and you can unmute and share whatever you'd like to share. While you mentioned that, when I was looking for images to put in the PowerPoint in this updated version, I found Christmas activities, winter holiday parody, and satire song exercise. So apparently it's like a lesson plan for teachers, but people homeschool, or you just have kids and you might want to do it. So let me share that link too. I don't know if it's any good because I haven't seen the lesson plan. They have some sample pages, but you don't really need a lesson plan to do it. You can you can just write down the lyrics, go and on one side of the paper, and then what are the lyrics we're going to write on the new lyrics on the other side of the paper. Well, thank you, Ruby. I'm glad you joined us.
Yolanda, I felt like our sessions went great together. I was thinking,
yeah,
especially we had some overlap, but didn't really, get in each other's area too much. And I'm seeing a future like we're gonna have to collaborate on a happiness session or something.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think too, this is a great opportunity in writing a parody, as Yolanda has mentioned, maybe for some of your kids too. We talked about that when Stephanie spoke earlier. That could be a great activity. I think I read somewhere in the chat that someone actually says they use their family names to replace some of the names in some of the songs too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which I think is really, that can be really fun and a great little kind of family event. Can do a presentation when family comes over during the holidays as well, and sing that song for them. It's always fun. That's the other thing. We used to do skits in our holiday, some of our holiday traditions, and so the kids would come up with different skits to come and present to the parents. We were all future actresses and hams. So I mean, that's kind of fun to kind of see what everyone would do. If someone played an instrument, they would come out and play their instrument. So that was always something to think about too. And I think it goes back to what Dr. Belcher was saying, and kind of a way to kind of distract a little bit, to kind of give your mind something else to think about, to kind of the things that might be bothersome or worry, to find something that really is something that you really do enjoy doing. And maybe even something different. Something different can help kind of create that shift for some of you as well. So these have been some wonderful and great suggestions and presentations today. I think as Dr. Harper said, does anybody have any questions or comments for any of our presenters today? I believe Stephanie's still here as well. So Dr. Belcher, Dr. Harper, and Dr. Anderson, any questions for any of them or suggestions, comments?
I have a comment. I just wanted to say I really like the idea of the Christmas parody. My kids are all different ages. I have a 6-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old. And so I'm doing 12 days of Christmas crafts, with my 6-year-old. And my 14-year-old son, he just started high school. He's interested in anything that I've got planned. But I guarantee you we can make it'll probably be a funny song. But I bet I can get him on board with making a parody, and we'll make it like a comedy parody about Christmas.
Wonderful.
So, I love that.
Yeah, and I saw your comment too, Christy. Yeah, music can be beneficial with individuals from all different levels of abilities and different types of challenges. So. And Jamie, your name sounds familiar.
I had you in honors college. You were one of my professors. Yeah, I only have one more class left until I actually graduate.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
hey, nice. Yeah, Jamie, you're going to have to do a presentation for us in one of these upcoming sessions. You think about it. Think about it.
Well, guys, I want you to know that right now as long as my GPA stays the same, I will be graduating summa cum laude, and I am coming out to San Diego on May 3rd for the graduation.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic.
Great.